Y'all will not believe who I have sitting next to me right now. I'm fanning out because I've seen her in some really hot movies over the past couple years. This lady, she wears many hats. She's a jack of all trades. She's an actress, a writer, a producer, a director. She is a public speaker, a party promoter. She's been in some of the hottest movies based out of Detroit over the last 5 years or so. Indictment, Who is Jonathan Carter? He Said, She Said, Deadly Secrets, Three Keys. What else? The legal movie, right?
Street Legal.
Street Legal is dope. Oh my God. She's been in McGraw Ave. She's also been in Diamond Girls. I think that was the first movie you was a part of.
That was the first play I did. The first professional play I've ever done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
First professional play she ever done.
Which is, this past weekend was the, I think, 7 or 8 year.
Whoa, 8-year anniversary? Mm-hmm. So you started 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. Okay. Get Paid.
Yeah.
That might have been one of the top movies.
Definitely. Shout out to China.
Yeah.
She just released Please.
Please?
It's her thriller.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. She is the creator of one of my favorite vlogs, the Ellematic View.
Thank you.
She does a lot of things on there. She gives her view on, controversial topics. She basically reviews movies. She reviews hip hop albums. She recites her own poetry. Yes, you heard that correctly. She is not only all of the things that I listed in the beginning of this intro, but she's a hip hop enthusiast and a poet as well.
Yes, thank you.
We feel like we know her. She feels familiar to us. When we see her in movies, when we hear her speak, it's almost like we feel like she's one of us. She speaks for the people. That's why they call her the voice for the voiceless. That's why they call her the voice of the streets. She's the Ellematic. She's a Detroit legend already at such a young age.
Thank you.
She is the one and only Elle Breaunna.
Thank you so much.
What's up, Elle?
Damn, that was good.
Yeah, I just tried
to be over here like, you talking about me. He said about me. Damn.
I had to, man, because we talked some months ago.
Yeah, and we talked some years ago too.
Oh, you remember that?
Started.
Yeah. That's when I first moved back to Detroit from California.
Yeah, and I was doing the Ellematic View.
I remember that, and I looked at every single one of them videos.
Thank you so much.
That's the reason why I had reached out, and I'm like, man, I gotta have her be a part of my project.
And I remembered, I'm like, when I'm ready to start, he's one of the first. You were one of the first that I wanted to do. I fanned out because I'm like, your interviews are great because you interview everybody, every topic in every lane, and then you actually do your homework.
Oh, you better.
And that's important. Yeah. That's real journalism.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's not hard to do homework on you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because I'm saying, like, me and my wife, every night when we, the kids go to sleep and we winding down, we watch a movie, and like I said, you've been in a ton of them. My favorite one that you've been in is He Said, She Said, because you had to play like a double agent where everybody that you were, in a relationship with, like, you had to play a double agent with your best friend. Mm-hmm. You had to play a double agent with your cousin, with the dude that your best friend was in a relationship with, and it's kind of tough to play those opposites like that, where like you have an ulterior motive, but you're making them think that you're doing things in their best interest, and you killed it. You sold it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My mother turned around and said, "You ain't shit."
How hard is that to play a role? Because I'm sure that's nothing like you, right?
It's nothing like me. And I was kind of pissed at first. Like, really, Dennis? Like, this what you going to make me do? But then I was like, you know what? This shows range. And I feel like it's very important as an actress to not get boxed in.
Wow.
And the thing about indie, which I appreciate and I respect indie films so much because it's given us a platform and it's given us a way, especially right now. Yeah. Shout out to Dennis Reed for being a waymaker for us.
Wow. Shout out to Dennis Reed. Is that DR2
Yep,
Productions?
DR2 Productions.
Wow.
But sometimes people will box you in. So what I'm trying to do for myself is create a way where I can show my own range. So that's why I'm jumping into the writing bag, the directing bag, the producer bag, because I'm blessed enough to be able to do that. But sometimes if you don't want to follow the wave, you create your own and you just ride it out. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool because you have played, like, every role is different. Like in the one that I'm talking about, you just played the fly. Like, I call her like a urban Hillary Banks, because she was walking around with the dog and everything like that.
That was not even a part of it.
Oh,
the dog was a part of the Airbnb. That was just the dog there.
Oh, wow.
And so I just was like, let me just grab this.
Yeah.
He wouldn't leave me alone. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm really allergic to you, but come on, So I took a Benadryl and I was like, I think it'd just be cute.
Sometimes, you couldn't tell. Yeah.
Sometimes I just do that. Mm-hmm. I'll just see something and be like, I want to add that on. I want to add that in. So one movie that you didn't mention, which is we're having to re-release on Tubi, is Parental Discretion Advised. And that's gonna be that's actually on Urban Flicks. Shout out to Kamal Smith.
Kamal Smith, right. Yeah.
Kamal was like, I want you to play a 37-year-old mom. And I was like,
Whoa.
Mama,
Whoa.
37? I'm just 30 for real. Like,
Yeah,
what you saying,
yeah.
right? I'm like, I know I'm light skinned. We age a little different, but it's kinda bad.
He was probably talking about your voice though.
It was the voice, my
yeah.
mannerisms, and I appreciate that role so much. It was such a great message behind it. He channeled some Jay-Z, which you guys know I love Jay. Shout out to Meech Icewood. He played my son. He's a phenomenal actor. He's up and coming as well. We're going to re-release that soon on Tubi, but you can also watch it on Urban Flicks. It's called Parental Discretion.
Okay, that's why I ain't seen it, but we're going to see it
Yes,
tonight though.
yes.
Yeah, but I know he basically said that he wanted you to, because you don't look 37, but your voice, right?
Yeah.
And that's one thing about you, is that when you walk onto a scene, you walk in with purpose, you speak emphatically. You
Thank
have
you.
a very strong presence. So although you're not a mom yet in real life, well, you are. We'll get into that. But not a child that you've given birth to,
Yes.
right? You still can play one just because of that strength that you exude.
They used to call me Mama Lex in high school.
Mama Lex.
Like I was the girl that was. I don't boss people around, but I'm very good at directing.
Yeah.
I've been a director my whole life, you know, like literally, or leading, or giving sound advice.
Yeah. That's a better way than like saying bossing around.
Yes,
Yeah,
you know, I'm a very rational person,
Yep,
so I
yep.
kind of get that mother figure. I'm warm. I think I'm a warm person. So once I got the script and I read it, I was like, I'm sold.
Wow.
I'm sold.
So rational. My wife is extremely rational. She's probably more rational than I am.
Is she a Libra?
She's a Sagittarius.
That's my moon sign. This is Sag.
Okay,
I'm a
okay.
Taurus with a Sag moon, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so she you're in a relationship, right? It makes it easier for us because, again, even when we get into disagreements, you know, my wife lets it go easily because she's rational. So she's like, even if I don't agree with you, I see your point.
Because that's the thing about relationships, which I'm learning for myself, is that I don't have to agree, but I can understand and respect your point of view. I just even told my mom that yesterday. That's dealing with anybody. Like, I can stand on how I feel and still say, I apologize if it made you feel this way.
Yeah.
That wasn't my intention, but I'm still standing on what I believe. So I'm still taking my stance and still pacifying you at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think as people, we have to understand that I don't always have to be right. You know, vocalizing how I feel isn't a right or wrong. It isn't a statement of fact.
Yeah.
It's literally, this is just how I feel. This is my opinion. And it may differ than yours. And I respect that. And I can go away with that. I'm learning that. And I'm just trying to be a better person overall with every relationship in my life.
Yeah.
And trying to rationalize and agree to disagree. And walk away with knowing that it's okay.
Yeah, a guy named Jordan Peterson, he basically says that what's better than winning an argument is the mutual elevation and the progression of the discourse. It's basically both of us elevating and understanding each other while we're having this conversation versus one person trying to win.
Because you don't listen.
Yeah,
When you're trying to win, you're not even listening.
Yeah.
And you're not receiving what I'm saying. You're not receptive to anything because I'm so trying to make my point across and that I'm the right person that
Yeah.
you've missed everything. You ever
Absolutely.
argue with someone and they said what you said? You be like, I said that. If you shut the hell
And
up
listen and just let me finish. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing. Like, some people practice this exercise where, you know, you just let the person talk. Even if you disagree with them, you don't interject. And then as soon as they finish, you have to repeat back what they said to you just to let them know you were listening. Right. And it's a good exercise. I haven't really used it yet. But one thing about me, and I think you probably had the same sort of superpower, is that it's easy for me to win an argument.
Yes.
And it was like that, you know, in my 20s when me and my wife weren't even married yet. But then I still walk away feeling like I lost because I was trying to win.
And you feel depleted of energy.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
You
yeah.
feel so depleted because it's like, I did all
All
of
of
that
this.
and we haven't resolved anything. And now I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I really want to do it, but you didn't piss me off.
Yeah. Real
You got
talk.
all these things in. So for me, I didn't realize I have so many traumas and triggers that I thought that I had got rid of. But what I just realized, I just told someone that you can unpack things, right? And then you pack it into another box. So you took out of that one and put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And tucked it
Wow.
instead of throwing it away.
Yeah.
It's so many things that I really thought that I had dealt with and that I had unpacked that I did not unpack. So I'm unpacking them again.
Yeah, you're reverse engineering everything. We got to talk. Okay, so now we about to go to your childhood.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So where did you grow up?
Joy Road and Evergreen.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Joy Road.
Joy Road and Evergreen. My parents met at Lessinger Middle School, Cody High School, that same area. My family, both of my sides of family are actually close with each other. Like we will kind of spend holidays together. Like my mom's my dad's family come see my grandma, like all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
so
wow.
my family's real close. I was blessed enough to literally be able to go over Granny house. I call my dad's mom Granny Miss Howard.
Wow.
And my mom's family. So when I was 7, my parents had broken up. My dad was in the streets and he was just a womanizer.
How many siblings?
It's 7 total, but with
7 total.
my mother and father, just 2 of us.
Okay, got you. Okay.
So she had my sister, and my grandfather, I think, felt like it was just a lot on my mom after a breakup, and you got this little baby. And I think Lexus, which is my real name, she's going to see structure over here with me and your mother. And I'm going to make the executive decision. My grandfather said she's coming here.
Wow.
And my mother didn't fight him on it because I think she understood, coming from a 2-family household, that this is what I needed.
And you said your father had left. He was in the streets, right?
Yeah. I mean, my father was around. He had a new girlfriend. He started a new family.
But just out the household.
Out the household. And I didn't need to see that anyway. It was too much. Children shouldn't have to see your parents fight and bicker a lot. Because you start to think that that's normal. And then I took that to other relationships as I got older too.
So let me ask you this. I hate to interject, but when you say they shouldn't see the parents fight, is it just that they shouldn't see them fight in a way that's unproductive and unhealthy?
Definitely, because people are going to disagree, and that's normal. And you should be able to see, that's human nature.
Yeah.
But I was seeing my mother and father fight.
Yeah.
My mother crying, my mother depressed, my mother feeling inadequate,
Oh, man.
my
Yeah.
mother feeling that she didn't feel loved. And it will reflect on the kids.
And it was totally different in your grandparents' house.
What? My grandfather was Heathcliff Hustle.
Oh, shoot.
Like, no.
Yeah.
He's everybody's favorite uncle, favorite brother.
Just the dude on the show.
Just the dude on the show. That's why I say Heathcliff.
Yeah.
It's as if y'all know she called him Heathcliff and she called him Cliff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he wore the Coogee sweaters and the Burberry trenches, and my grandfather was fly.
Wow.
And he was a provider of everything to my grandmother, mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially.
Yeah.
He was the best man in the world. And I saw structure. My grandparents did the same thing every day around the clock, which is, I'm such a routine person because of that. Literally, they ate hot sausages with Miracle Whips and saltine crackers at 5 to watch the news, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, news again. They gonna iron the clothes, eat dinner, and it was like this,
That's what's up.
And my grandfather was very brilliant. He was a very smart man. Grew up in Jim Crow South. He was self-taught with a lot of things. He gave me current events every Sunday on politics. That's why I love politics.
Yeah.
And he had a memory where he would know already what, once he read it, it was,
Wow.
he knew verbatim what it was. And
What strengths did you get from your grandma?
my grandmother is, if I could be 1/4 a woman that she is, I've won.
Wow.
My grandmother is, I sometimes hate that for her whole life has been a wife and a mom, because that's all she knows is to care for people. She is a caretaker. My grandmother isn't really emotional. You're not going to see her cry. You're not going to even hear her say she loves you, but you feel it. You feel that love from grandma. Like you come in, dinner was cooked, and she worked in the field. My grandmother worked as a mechanical helper for the city. So she worked outside. But every day she cooked for her husband. She catered for her husband, but she was very strong. Strong on her opinion, strong on how she felt. She was a decision maker in her house. And what I noticed is that what she was good at, he allowed her to do. And what he was good at, she allowed him to do. And they didn't challenge each other. And if they did, I didn't see it.
Wow. And, we don't have a lot of that these days. I think with couples, I think the element that's missing that what you just mentioned with your grandmother is duty and responsibility.
Definitely.
And doing it proudly, right? And also understanding that 2 of the same is not a good thing. You need 2 people who complement each other.
And they were, she's meek. And my grandfather's smooth, and they just kind of moved well together. Like when they walk into a room, they looked good. She's kind of a little bit more modest, and was a little bit more upbeat. He's deceased now, but they just really, they were great.
What were some of the strengths that you picked up from your mom and your dad?
My dad was a writer. My dad went to college for sports broadcasting.
Okay.
No one knew that. My dad went to school for sports broadcasting for a basketball scholarship.
Wow.
And, you know, I always say he went from verbs to birds.
Oh,
And, you know,
That's good.
unfortunately, that's going to be in my book. I'm writing a book. That's going to be in my book.
Hey, don't y'all steal that.
Don't steal
That's
that.
copywritten. It's right here. So,
yes.
yeah.
My dad is free spirited, the party person. You know, he's charismatic. He was a jokester. He was a presence in the room as well. But the writing for me came from my dad. My mother is strong head. She's 4'11". She's got Napoleon complex. So she is a presence in the room. When she walks in, she demands it.
You know. Yeah.
Gift for gab.
Yeah.
She gonna sell you out your drawers and buy. So you gonna sell, and you gonna buy them back.
Yeah.
She is.
Sell ice in the winter, fire in hell.
What?
See?
Listen,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she is the ultimate hustler. My
Wow.
mother has her hands in anything moving. I've never seen my mother not making a way for herself. We never lacked. And she thoroughly enjoys what she does. She's been doing real estate since she was 24.
Wow.
But she's been doing the buy and flip. People in the city know her from other ways and other ways.
Yeah,
She can go from 0 to 100 real quick.
Wow.
I love the fact that she's a chameleon. She knows how to talk to the best of them and the worst of them.
Wow.
So I think I know I got that from her.
What was the first traumatic event you experienced as a child that you remember?
My dad's murder.
How old were you?
12. 9:14, my uncle texted my phone. Back then, my number was so easy. My aunt has it now, so I can't tell you what it is. But he calls me and he's frantic or whatever. And I'm like, I give him my mom's number. I go back to sleep. And then my mom hits the door at 9:30. I could tell you what she had on. It's like, I can remember. And I looked at her and said, what happened to my daddy? Like, it's like I felt it. And she was like, he's gone. And it was just like everything. You ever have like where your ears sound like something's ringing in it? It's like,
Wow.
everything else had been blocked. I didn't hear nothing else. And I had been depressed as a kid before that. When my parents broke up, that really took a toll on me.
That's when the depression started.
That's when depression started. I started to overeat and things like that. And my grandfather would pacify me with food. I don't think he recognized it. You know how grandparents let it give you sweets?
Yeah.
And let it give you pop, juice.
Yeah,
Drink the juice, don't tell
I
you.
mean, all grandparents supposed to do that. You was just living with yours.
I was
so,
living mine, so it was like an overkill
all the
of
time.
shit.
So that was like a coping mechanism for you.
Food is a coping mechanism for me. So sometimes people see my weight go up and down. That could be what it is. And so that's when I realized I was, I say sometimes my dream was deferred.
Oh, Langston Hughes.
Yeah, my dream was deferred.
Wow.
I was depressed for a good 10 years. It just worsened over the years. And finally, I decided to take control of my life before about 25.
What caused you to want to take control of your
I didn't
life?
like myself. I didn't like the person that I saw in the mirror. I didn't like that when I walked. The person that you guys know, people would be like, ooh, you didn't want to see me coming. I was hell on wheels. I was always emotional. Always crying, always upset, always offended, very self-conscious. Funny, I did an 80-20 on myself like Tyler Perry. I wrote down all these things that I didn't like about myself and things that I did like. And what I didn't like was like this.
Whoa.
Compared to the list of things I did like.
So that takes an incredible level of self-awareness and honesty and accountability to do what you did.
And I said, what I can fix, fix it. And what I can't, fuck it. I cannot keep holding this thing of trying to be perfect or what. Because think about this for me. I'm 32.
Yeah.
So I am the age of Aquarius. I'm the age of social media. So I started with none to social media. So I'm also the start of like the real video vixen era.
Ooh, yeah.
So looking as the girl that grew up at 12, built like I'm built now. I was the first girl with stretch marks. I was the first girl with cellulite. I was a grown woman as a kid. That's a lot.
So people your age probably teased you, and then older men were trying to hit on you.
Precisely. And I was petrified of old men.
Yeah.
But I also felt like nobody liked me. I didn't think I was good enough. And then, and you look at me now, people are like, you're so pretty. You're so this. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm looking at Melissa Ford. I'm looking at Big Pimpin' video like, oh my God.
Wow.
This is what you're supposed to look like. No, you're not. That's not real. But then my mother's 4'11", 120 pounds.
Wow.
I've been taller than her since I was 5. You know what I'm saying? So I battled a lot with just self-image. Body, what do they call it? Body dysphoria or whatever it's called. And now I'm just like, it is what it is. And I still struggle. I still have triggers. I still sometimes feel a way about myself. But I'm also, what I worked hard on is being smart. because you're not gonna always be beautiful. It's gonna be somebody. I'm gonna be 70 one day, but I'm always gonna have this. So when you come to my funeral in 50 years, you're gonna say Lexus was smart. Elle was smart. Elle was a people person. Elle was a servant of God. Elle was a humanitarian. Elle was an educator. Elle was an entertainer. Elle was empathetic. I want those words, because when you just say she's pretty, what does that mean? What validity is that? I feel like girls now, my age and younger, we got to get into that.
Yeah, and you were able to start being more empathetic when you stopped worrying so much about the stuff you couldn't change.
Yeah, like even now, like I got stretch marks. It is what it is. I got cellulite. It is what it is. I'm gonna not wear shorts because I got cellulite and it's 95 degrees outside. So I'm gonna wear jeans. No, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Like, you don't like it, turn your head.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up. And then the thing that you also said, and you, because you did a public speaking event maybe last year where you were speaking to a crowd of people about your journey, and you mentioned that, yeah, you suffered from depression, but what woke you up was your grandfather's passing.
Yes. I was in a traumatic relationship young, and I will not place all blame on him. We were young. That's just what it is. And we didn't know what we were doing. And, bad mouth is, I'm not going to say cool, but it's quick to be fast with your tongue when you're young. So, and I already have been suffering from low self-esteem. So again, I'm not going to put it 100% on him, but it was bad mentally for me. And when my papa passed away, I said, I'm not going to be unhappy no more, because life is so short. He passed away, like he went to the hospital and then he was dead. What it was going, like it was literally that. He was suffering silently, but we didn't know that to a degree. And I was like, I'm done. I broke up with him. I started the Ellematic View that year. On his birthday was my first drop, September 3rd, 2016.
Wow. And that's crazy, because you pray for strength, right? You ask God for strength.
Every day I chanted that.
Yeah.
I have strength on my hand in Chinese. Every day I chanted, I am strong, I am strong, I am strong. And I tell people all the time, the more you tell yourself something, you convince yourself of that. That's all faith is. Faith is saying that this is what it is.
Yeah.
And you got to keep saying it. You're not going to automatically be faithful. It's unknowing. It's something you're believing in, something that's unknowing.
Yeah.
And then in my mind, I had never been strong, but I really had been.
Yeah.
But to leave a relationship that I had been in for 12 years and say, I got to do something else.
Yeah.
And my mom them didn't know what blogging was. What the hell is blogging? They were like, you are crazy. You wasting your time. No, you're not going to make no money. What are you doing? And I was like, I don't care. Deaf ears. I don't care what y'all think. This is all for me. I know what I see for myself.
Wow. And those experiences, you talk about losing your dad at
12,
I'm sorry. Your parents breaking up
at 7.
Sorry. Losing your granddad at
24.
So all of these traumatic experiences, and when we pray for strength, we don't realize that there's going to be certain traumatic things that'll happen that will show us what we're made of. Like, that's our way of realizing or testing our faith and testing our strength, right?
Exactly. So this is what it was. Around February 2016, I was telling myself I got to leave this relationship. And I prayed for strength. I said, God, give me the strength. And March 2nd, Papa passed. And I said, that was God saying, if you can get through this,
you can get through
anything. You can get through anything.
Wow.
If you can get through this, the man that raised you, the man you think,
the closest man to you in your life, you think the world of.
You think the world, he's everything. He still was rubbing my stomach when I had cramps at 24. I could lay in the den and he's like, oh, pumpkin, you gonna be okay. Wow. If you can get through this, you can get through anything. So that's why now it ain't nothing that I can't do. Yeah. It's nothing I can't get through. If I can get through that, man. And I say all the time too, I can look up and say, woe is me. I lost 2 men that loved me. I had 2 men that loved me. Who am I to be upset? Some people never had a daddy.
Golly, so
I had 2.
Hold on. So you could choose to either look at it this way, woe is me, God, why did you do this to me? It can cause you to become negative, cynical, angry, right? Yep. Angry, bitter, all of these things. Or you could choose to have gratitude. And if you have gratitude, then not only will you show up for yourself, you'll have the capacity to show up for others. You'll be positive, you know.
That's when I was able to start showing up for others.
Yeah,
because before
yeah.
I was so depressed, I was the friend that didn't go to nothing. So now
Yeah.
I overexert myself, honestly, to show up.
Oh, so now you got to reel it back in.
Now I'm like, that's probably why my head been hurting for 2 weeks, because
Yeah.
I'm always doing something,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm just trying to be there, because I know how it feels to not be there. But again, like you said, I was able to have gratitude when I realized you are blessed.
Yeah.
You are a blessed girl.
Yeah.
You were able to have, my grandfather courted me, my dad took me on dates. Like, I know how a man's supposed to treat a woman. I know how to see a man love a woman.
The fact that you had grandparents that your mother could send you to who had principles and values
Yes.
that shaped who you are
Yes.
today.
I tell her all the time, that's not a disservice.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you failed me with that. You didn't.
That was a part of the plan.
That was a great plan.
Yeah.
I would not be who I am today if it was not for Robert and Renee.
Wow. So the Ellematic View, you said during that time where, you know, you lost your grandfather, you broke up with your boyfriend, it was a pretty tumultuous relationship, that inspired you to start Ellematic View. Wow. That's, you know, I'm like, because I watch a lot of vlogs, but that was one of my favorites because you always had something to say. Nothing felt forced. And then you changed it up. You even interviewed some prominent people in Detroit.
Yeah.
Like doing the thing that I'm doing right now, better than me. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're the truth.
Yeah. So are you going to come back with it?
I am. I'm going to come back with it. I'm trying to figure out how to channel myself because I feel like everybody's doing it. But I think that my conversations were different.
Yeah.
We're much different. I do my research as much as I can. And then too, my opinions of things have changed over the years. At that time I was 25. I'm 32.
Wow.
When I started, I stopped in 2018 or 19. But you know, even my political views have changed, where I was such a righteous liberal. I can say now I might be
changed too, so.
I might be a soft conservative. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
we might be voting for the person y'all don't want us to.
Exactly, but it may make sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you know. So
my bank account was so much better when the last person was in there.
Yeah,
it's
as
just
much
facts.
as I couldn't stand him in that comb over.
It's just facts.
You know, it's
but
just
that's that rational Libra mentality. It's like I don't have to necessarily like the messenger to recognize the value that person added. And that's something that's hard for, well, especially a lot of people in the Black community, because we're very emotional in a good way, but sometimes to a fault.
And so I had to do my research on Black people and politics and, you know, social parties and political parties, and to realize that we weren't always Democrats. We were first Republicans, right?
History lesson.
History lesson. Then you go into the Black Panther Party, and then they're preaching to go into Democrat. You know, 60s was the upward change and downward change for Black America. So many things I'm just figuring out as to who I am and why we are the way we are as Black people, even as far as dealing with people with, you know, history of generational trauma. You know, this happened with your daddy and your mama, this is why and your grandparents, or we're 6 generations post-slavery. We still dealing with that trauma. So it's so many things. And I got so much more to talk about.
You know who woke me up? It's probably a mutual friend of ours, Teach Him Chuck. Me and him went to high school together, right? And I know you did. You were the moderator on the podcast that we did at Shop Talk.
Yeah. I couldn't stand Chuck at first. I admired Chuck, though. It was a part of me was like, this nigga so deep. You know what I'm saying? One day I might want to call him a coon. But I'm like, he ain't. He's brilliant.
Because he like one of us.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
He really is. He don't talk out the side of his neck.
No.
He talking fat.
Yeah.
It's nothing that he's saying that he don't know for certain.
Yeah.
He didn't did his work. He didn't went through the encyclopedia.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I respect about Chuck is that you ain't gonna over talk him or under talk him. He gonna let you say what you gonna say, but by the time he done with you,
you gonna wish
he done choose you up, spit you out, choose you up again.
Yeah. It don't matter how you could be 60, you could be 40, 50. It don't matter what you think you know.
He know.
Yeah.
If like, you know, you know.
That's how he was. Well, see, in high school I didn't know that. Because again, Charles was, you know, a smooth hood guy. Didn't know that, right? And then I go off to college. I went to University of Michigan, and when I would come back on breaks, he'd be like, "Hey, you know how you talk, yo, man. You come over to my house or whatever later, man. I want to holler at you." So I'm like, "What, Charles? Can you speak up?" Yeah, you know, I want to talk to you. So I go over there. He got books all across his table, and I'm like, "Where the hell you get all these?" I mean, thick thick books.
It's so important for black men from the hood to read.
Yeah, but mind you, in high school, I had no idea he was
Did
on
y'all go to
that.
Cass?
Yeah, we went to Cass with D. Rick too.
Yeah, that's my dog.
Right? Yeah. Great rapper.
We gotta get on him. We gonna get on him too.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm seeing all these books I didn't know, and it shocked the mess out of me. And then he started talking to me, but at that time he was on I think he might have been on the Black Power stuff. See, he transitioned. A lot of people don't know that he went from that to the conservative he is today. But I remember coming back home from California. We moved back in 2018, and me and him were arguing about Trump. And I was getting emotional, and he said, "Look at you right now." You know how he was talking in that saying. He said, "Look how emotional you."
Because it's so condescending.
Yeah, right. He was
manipulative, like quit doing that.
Right, and then he was just like, "See, you got to learn how to separate your emotions from whatever." So then I get home and I start thinking on it. And I'm like, man, I don't like the feeling of losing arguments because I was losing, which is why I had to try to overcompensate with emotions, and that's what changed it for me. So mutual friend, you killed it on that podcast.
Thank
you
you so
moderated
much.
between him and the other gentleman, but yeah.
I think that you can still be Black Power and still be a soft conservative.
Yeah.
I think that it's okay to be pro-Black. I'm pro-Black everything. I got my Wu-Tang shirt on. Like all things Black, I love that. Like if I could support everything Black, I will. If I can go around supporting the alternatives, I will do that.
Yeah.
But I also know what value they hold. We got to know how to use them.
Okay.
That's just how I feel about it.
We're going to talk more about that offline because I got to pick your brain on all this stuff, politics, everything. So anyway, D. Rick, right?
He's executive producer of my soundtrack for my movie.
Okay, so now we got to get into the movies, right? You said Diamond Girls was the first play you ever did.
Professional play. I've been doing plays since second grade.
But that was the first professional play.
Yes, Joe Smith, Joe Millionaire.
Okay, Joe Millionaire. So I was going to ask you, when did you first know you wanted to be an actress?
All my life.
All your life.
But my family, again.
Yeah.
You're going to be a struggling actress. This is stupid. Why do you want to? This is a hobby.
Yeah.
Black folks don't. They didn't see it. And then again, when Papa passed, I was tired of living for them. I was unhappy. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was in jobs that I didn't like. I was barely going to work because I was suffering from depression. And now I'm like, I'm gonna live my dream as much as I can.
Yeah.
So I did Diamond Girls. That worked out well. And then I knew Shorty Rich, who executive produces McGraw F. He had done, I think, Buffed Up to 11, something like that, with
classics.
Moolah Films, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Moolah Films. And I called him and said, man, throw me in McGraw, dog. Make me an extra or something.
Yeah.
So he like, all right, show up on Warren and such with some black combat boots on, black shirt and some black cargos.
Officer Kia Garcia or Nia
Garcia, right?
Got you. Yep.
But that wasn't my name at first. At first my name was like Linda. I don't know.
You had to change it.
I was like, why the fuck would my name be Linda? Because they were looking for an Asian cop at first.
Yeah.
And so people don't know that the guy that is behind Moolah Films is actually an Afro-Latino. He's a Cuban.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I always call him... I got all the jokes on it. Stabby Davis Jr.
Oh, wow.
I got all the jokes, right? So he's a brilliant guy, too. The whole team behind McGraw, Moolah Films, they dope. Wow. They are on another level as well. Love working with them too. I didn't have any lines. I made lines.
Damn.
And then they were like, see, they're super unorthodox and super not traditional. You can't do that with Dennis. You getting fired.
You got to say what's on that paper.
What? And then Joe is like that too. Joe is like, verbatim what I wrote is what I want you to say. I don't want you to do nothing ad lib. I don't want you to do a... if it don't say that.
Yeah.
Everybody you work with is going to be different. But Moolah, they are very unorthodox, very not traditional. They're okay with the rawness. To me, I think that makes them feel like it's more authentic. So I threw some shit in there, and then I got called back as a season regular. But I keep telling them, make my role bigger.
No, that's what's up, man. So, and the crazy thing is that, so you did this other movie called Three Keys.
Yeah.
Right?
Mina Monroe.
And Mina Monroe? Yeah. And she's been in a lot of stuff. And I think Mama D was in there. She played... Was Mama D in Three Keys?
I think she was.
She might have played her mother in that.
Yep, she did. And, Mina just did If I Can't, which was...
with Tristan Fazekis. I went to high school with him, too. Yep. Middle school, too.
And he, that was New York... At the New York Times, did a special... did a a post on that.
Yeah.
So shout out to Mina. That was amazing.
Yeah, shout out to Mina, straight up, man. But you did 3 Keys and you walked in the scene. You and this other girl
clapping my feet.
Basically stole the show, man, because she was, sitting at the table with a dude who was broke. And y'all was
shout out to Michi F, baby. That was great work from Michi. I hate that, at the time that was Diesel's directorial debut.
Yeah.
If they would have actually caught the way we walked in for real, and even like our body language talking to him,
y'all was ready.
We
like
was
Baps.
Lolo and
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or Baps. Yeah. It was hilarious, and I was so pissed. Like they fucked that up. Yeah. I'm like, I gotta get behind the scenes. Yeah. I gotta get behind that camera.
And let me ask you this now, because it was the summer, blistering hot. They had on furs, right? So you also
it was July.
It was July. Y'all had on furs. You also sold fur coats at one point.
Yeah, I'm going back to that too.
Ellematic furs.
Yeah, I'm going back to that.
Let me see. Nostalgic, quality, custom furs that fit any occasion.
Yes, because nostalgia, you think of, when I think of furs, I grew up in that 90s era. I was young in the 90s, but Lil' Kim was in Mary J. Blige.
Oh, man, come on.
When you think of hip hop, you think of women in hip hop, you think of those two. Lil' Kim was a trendsetter.
Yeah. She
was iconic. Christian LaCroix, Moschino, Dolce & Gabbana, Chanel, Louis Vuitton. Kim. And then you think of furs. You think of Crush on You video.
Wow.
She had different color fur on in every scene.
Probably one of the top 10 videos of all time.
All time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I think of furs, and my mother was a fur wearer. My mother used to get her furs back in the day at Hudson's. Yeah. Kathy. Upstairs, red hair, red nails. Wow. She wore a gold chain. She was a white lady, but she was real gangster. And she used to sell my mom her furs back then. Yeah. Your mama really started getting money. She would go to Canada and get her furs. Yeah. But she was wearing Persian lamb with fox. My grandfather. I just think of my family. A lot of things that I do, even the way I dress, it comes from family. Wow. I love the way my mom dressed. Back in the day, I looked at her and my aunt. They wore the padded shoulder jackets with the bustiers, like not in
Madonna. July though. They wouldn't wear the furs in July.
No, right? No. Like Madonna. So that was the thought of the furs for me. And I started selling furs. Things happened. I got robbed, and I went through a depression after I got robbed, like a real depression. I felt guilt. Felt like it was my fault. This whole social media thing and people seeing you. Am I doing something wrong? And I kind of fell to the wayside within the last year, getting myself back together. I'm very open in saying that I do suffer from depression. I do have times where I don't ever want to say anymore at my worst when I'm not at my best.
Well, you said it was times where you couldn't even get out the bed. No. You couldn't barely shower. You couldn't keep a job. Now you got so many damn jobs. You need to drop some of them. But yeah, that's crazy.
It usually times where I remember my mom was like, "Did you take a bath?" And I was like, I don't know.
Oh, no. Wow.
And I think that we have to talk about that more. Yeah. We have to talk about the fact that when people are drinking every day, the turn up person, something is wrong.
Something is wrong.
When a person
that's not normal.
It's not. When a person's angry all the time, every time you see them, it's a fight or argument. Something is wrong. Everyone channels depression differently. Yeah. Mine's is sulking in the bed. Yeah. Or not being my best self of keeping myself up or things like that. But everybody suffers from depression differently.
I didn't realize that some of my friends were going through stuff because, when we would go out, they would drink so much to the point to where I'm like, damn, I got to try to carry you home every time we leave a club. But some of these guys that I hung with, they weren't angry drinkers. They got funnier. The personality actually got better with the more drinks they had. So I wasn't even thinking about asking questions like, yo, man, you all right? I didn't see it as that. I saw it as the norm. But you just mentioned, or you made a really good point where you said that's not normal. When somebody's doing that, they're trying to escape.
They're masking something. Yeah. And as black men, y'all internalize everything. When is your wife ever, and you may be different. I know for myself at home, when does your wife ever say to you, you okay? And you like, I'm fine. And you're not fine.
Oh, yeah.
All the time. Because as a black man, you think it's weak to be able to express the fact that I'm not okay. Or that I need something extra from you. Whether it's tell me I'm fine today, Bridget. You know what I'm saying? You might not be a person who needs that all the time. Because it may be off topic, but people talk about love languages. I think my love language changes every day. Yeah. Because what I require today, I don't require tomorrow. Yeah. And the next day. So where today I may need words of affirmation, tomorrow I might need physical touch. I mean, a gift some flowers this day to feel loved and accepted. Or it just, things change all the time. And I think as black men, you guys, that's why I feel like alcoholism and drugs is so prominent in with y'all, because y'all just mask everything. I make a conscious effort to ask my boyfriend, is there anything you need from me today? Or how was your day today? Are you okay? He ain't never gonna say it was horrible. He's gonna say I'm fine.
Yeah.
But he knows that he has a safe space. That when he's ready to express himself, he can do that here.
It's like that balance though. Like you said, you went from not showing up for your friends to showing up too much. So for men, you know, in general, there's a, you know, like with my wife, there's a fine line between her empowering me and enabling me. Right. So I have to make sure that, I want her to sometimes ask, like, are you okay? And then I have to be vulnerable enough to let her know. But at the same time, I have to take autonomy over the situation and try to rectify it or figure out a solution or ask for help if I need it. And I think sometimes with men, they try to be so strong, right? But that's on one end of the spectrum, and we're trying to be somewhere in the middle, right? We don't want to go to the other end of the spectrum to where now we're sharing everything and we're soaking in it, and now we're depressed and now we can't. So it's that balance too, I think.
But understanding that she's your helpmate, and so she's here to help you come up with a solution. Yeah, because you can't figure it out all on your own.
Well, right. That's true. That is true. It's about her being my helpmate, and it's about me communicating. It's about me not feeling guilty about that. But the other thing is that I never want to go over to the end of the spectrum to where I'm dependent on somebody to save me. Now, don't get me wrong. You can help me along my journey, but I have to save myself.
I can't be codependent on you.
There we go.
It's a fine line between soulmate and codependency.
Codependency, right? Because then I'm gonna make her life miserable because she got her own shit. She got her own stuff to worry.
She's her own person.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's your wife. She's their mother. She has her career, but she's still herself.
Facts.
And I think that a lot of times we lose ourselves in that. And I'm struggling with, I'm not losing myself. But it's like, girl, relax. Like, you know, my boyfriend told me sometimes you're too self-sufficient. And I'm like, who says that? But he's like, no, chill out sometime. I'm here to make things lighter for you. Like, I'm here to, you don't have to do everything on your own. Tell me. I'm here to assist, you know? So again, it's a struggle dealing with other humans living a human experience.
You talked about, you basically talked about not losing yourself. I had this one guy on here who's a therapist, Jason, actually, and he basically said that you want to look at your life as a pie chart. You want to make sure you have a diversified pie chart. You don't want to have like 80% of it be in your relationship or 80% of it be in your job. Right. You have to make sure that it's diversified enough so that if something goes, it won't cause you to go into a state of depression. You can still manage. And I think sometimes we make that mistake of putting too much of that pie chart into one thing that can either die, that can leave us, that can, whatever the case may be. So for me, I could tell you early on, it wasn't God, you know, and then when I switched the majority of that pie chart being, you know, my faith in God, it's like, that's the person who can't leave me. That's the person who will never forsake me. Come on. So that's it. And then sometimes we can replace God with other things and not even know it.
I always tell people you only serve one master.
Exactly.
And I'm looking for kingdomship, not nothing from the village. So I'm here to pray. I'm here to please God. I'm here to be a servant of him and his children. So if at any point, what you do is a service. Your service to God is to educate people and to, you know, broaden topics and to get people to think and to intrigue people. You're doing your duty. One of your many duties.
My duty is to have people like you on
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? But that's one of your many duties.
Yeah,
when a person figures their purpose out, but your purpose has to be to serve God. Wow. And I don't mean I'm not a Bible thumper by far. I'm sinning. You know what I'm saying? Not saying like that, but every day. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm talking to him first. My mom called me the other day, and my mama don't know when you don't answer, she gonna call back. So and sometimes I can be snappy. I'm a Taurus. I'm a Taurus, Sag, Libra. I can be very moody. So she's calling me as I'm writing down my prayer because I realize that writing my prayers down on my phone. It's you can look back at it. You know what I'm saying? We also write affirmations and manifestations at home. Just to look at, you know, just to remember. I got a whole bag full of old ones that I go through and see if I've, you know, done it, if it has come to pass. So I was like, Mom, I'm writing my prayer down. I'll call you right back. That's why I answered the first time. And she was like, she wanted to snap, but when I said prayer down, she said, okay. So I told her yesterday, I was like, you know, at that part, I was actually praying for my little sister. I have a little sister, Blair, that very, very smart girl. she's a bona fide hustler. She was selling CDs in the 5th grade, burning them, like T-shirts and stuff. She was always been great at that. And sometimes just being young, she falls to the wayside, and it's normal. And because we think so highly of her, sometimes we put too much pressure on her to be who we want her to be in this moment, when sometimes she gotta just get through the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just was praying for her specifically, and just removing certain people out of her life, and sometimes just the demon of laziness, or the demon of procrastination, or just of not feeling enoughness. I think a lot of us sometimes we feel like we aren't enough in different parts of our life, but just knowing that, girl, you're 25, you're gonna struggle, you're gonna not know what you're doing, nobody know what at 32, I don't know what I'm doing. At 40, I don't know what you're doing. Things change every day. So I'm just trying to be a better sibling to her specifically, out of all of them.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. And that's good that you, like you said, you have the capacity to be there for other people, but then again, it's that balance of like, hey man, I can help you, but I'm not going to drown in the process of doing that. And that's what you said you were trying to figure out.
It's boundaries.
Yeah,
and I literally had to make a post about, I don't know if you saw a reel I did. Just because I don't answer the phone, or just because I don't feel like talking, it's not personal to you. It's personal to me.
Yeah.
It's personal for me, because sometimes I get overstimulated. I work at a bar where people are calling me and pulling me in different directions all day. When I leave work, I need to decompress for days at a time sometimes, because sometimes I'm just overexalted. I'm overstimulated.
Extra stimulated.
I need to just sit in the room and watch TV, or sometimes let the TV watch me. Just, it's not personal. Yeah. I don't feel like talking. And
that's how I am too. That's crazy. Yeah.
And then sometimes you call me, you ain't talking about shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about them.
There's nothing that's adding value to what I got going on.
We're not stimulating. It's no substance. And I don't care about them.
Yeah.
Who did what? I know you from where? Elementary school. I don't know you, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's really how I'm feeling, because I'm getting at that point too. I don't want to know nobody's business. I don't care about what nobody got going on. Like something positive. Like, I don't want to be in nothing that's of bullshit. I just don't want that for myself, because I want you in my business. So,
and that can cause us to become negative too. Yeah. And like you said, you were in that space before where you were like the person that people were like, oh, here she comes with this attitude.
And I took her to tell I don't want the tea, I want the juice.
Yeah. Ooh.
I don't want the tea.
Yeah, because that informs your mood and your behavior and how you go out into the world. Yeah.
And don't call me what you heard. I don't care what you heard, what you think you know. Keep that to yourself, because then I start thinking about shit.
Yeah.
I'm just at a place in my life where I'm okay with being in the box. I'm okay.
Yeah. So you mentioned that Dennis Reed, he's more strict when it comes to the script, right? But when you did the movie Get Paid, and you were the person, you worked in the hair salon. I think the lead character owned the hair salon.
China.
But I wouldn't call you, like, they was calling you a hater, but I'm like, no, she just said what was on her mind. She was honest. She said what everybody was thinking. And it didn't seem like those were in the script. Like, you made those words your own. Did he give you that freedom with that?
So he lets us make it our own. He just doesn't let you just
make up something that wasn't there.
Exactly. Yeah, so you can take it and flip it and twist it. But a lot of Yaya was me, of being very vocal, very blunt. I'm silly. I'm cracking all the jokes. Everybody got a name that ain't their name. I'm just like, one of my friends on my phone is Wizard Kelly. I got a friend on my phone, Ice Cube. I got J.R. Ewing from is that Dallas? I think. Like, I got all the jokes, right? So I'm silly, but I'm also learning to stop being so vocal with my friends. Because people don't always like the truth, and I've lost friends because people don't want. My one friend told me if I don't want to hear the truth, I don't call Lex.
So you're that friend. Everybody needs that person.
They do. So what I'm learning to do now is ask a question. As opposed to saying that's stupid, I'll say, do you think that was a good idea?
Right.
Do you think that was
because
smart?
You're instead of you trying to get to that conclusion for them, you're trying to help guide them. Like, that goes back to giving people their autonomy over their own situation, and giving them empowering them to save themselves. But I'm gonna help guide you. Yeah. But you gonna get this honesty.
I asked a friend who was dealing with a piece of shit guy, and I said, do you want your son to be like him?
Ooh.
Do you want your daughter to date a man like him?
Yeah.
That's your answer.
That's your answer.
And I'm done with it.
And you can figure it out yourself.
I'm done with it.
Because see, here's the thing too. If sometimes I try to, and I used to do this in the past, where I would make a decision for my friend, but I'm not gonna suffer the consequences.
And mad when they don't do it.
Yeah, but here's the thing: I'm not gonna suffer the consequence. If you lose or gain that I'm not gonna suffer the consequences. I'm not gonna reap the benefits. So you have to make that decision. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that you presented it the way you did, because it's like, all right, make the decision.
And I'm done with it after that. And then I don't ever want to project perfection, because I have dealt with a lot in my past, like a lot. And again, I'm battling still every day. I'm a human and living a human experience. Yeah, it's just what it is. But sometimes I want best, but more from my friends and family, and better for them, and I get angry a little bit. I'm that friend that's madder than you. So, and I
because you see the potential and you want them to reach it.
Yeah, I just told my mom yesterday, the thing that me and my friends have been trying to do is asking, do you have the mental capacity to deal with what I have to talk about today? Because sometimes, and it doesn't always work out that way. I'm trying, but not for real. Yeah. But it just gives me the option to say, I don't feel like hearing that shit. Or, yep, I can be your shoulder to lean on right now, because our friends go through stuff too. But what I'm doing for myself, I just told my boyfriend, like, I'm going back to therapy. Because again, I got some things that I thought I unpacked that I didn't. And then also to maintain healthy thoughts. I don't think people have to realize that therapy isn't just because, oh, you crazy, or oh, you got issues. You can't put everything off on your people around you. You pay that person to listen to your problems. They can't tell nobody your business. Yeah. And then you leave there, and that's it. And you see them again next week, or 2 weeks, or once a month, or whatever way you want to set up your business conversation. Wow. So if I want to vent, that's going to be to them. So I'm definitely going back to therapy for sure.
Do you feel like doing movies is therapeutic in a way too? I mean, obviously you want to really, go to a therapist too to handle certain things.
I think anything you do in life that is of a constant, it should be therapeutic for you. Yeah. For me, telling stories is therapeutic. I've always been a person that loved movies. That's something me and my papa shared. We watched black and white movies. I was a fan of Grace Kelly and Audrey Hepburn, Henry Fonda, Peter Brock, and Dorothy Dandridge, and Ozzie Davis, and Henry Fonda was one of my favorites. Cat in the Hot Tin Roof, one of my favorite movies with
it's a play too, right? It was a Broadway play. Yeah.
So we did a black adaptation of it too with Denzel Washington, I want to say. But the original is with Elizabeth Taylor and
you 32. How the heck? Yeah,
the original is with Elizabeth Taylor and Rock Hudson, I want to say.
Come through.
So those movies, and I love black and white because
y'all thought she just started acting a few years ago. She been in this.
That's why when people say I want to start acting. Yeah. Why do you want to act? Because you think it's cute, like you think it's cool. Like no, I really love film. I love black and white because you can't. You know what you're looking at. You really have to look deeper outside of color. You know, color is easy. Yeah. It's surface level. But when it's black and white, you gotta look beyond the surface. Yeah. So I really love black and white films. The dramatics of the films back then too. The beauty, the women were just so beautiful back then. Pure.
Yeah, absolutely.
They weren't a size 2. The average woman was a size 12. Yeah. Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, absolutely.
All About Eve is one of my all-time favorite movies, and that's with Marilyn Monroe too.
Yeah, all that skinny stuff being the definition of beauty, that came later.
That came way later. They were, using the corsets then to bring in the waist, But I love films, so for me, that is watching TV all day is therapy for me, because I'm constantly picking something apart as to what I want to do in my next movie or who I can channel.
And as an actor, you can you play these different characters that aren't like you, right? And you would probably be very judgmental of them. But once you become an actor, you have to really try to understand what brought them to this point to do whatever they did. You know what I'm saying?
Part of me is them.
Yeah. Because every that's honesty right there. Yeah.
It's a part of you is that person. Yeah. When Denzel Washington played in Training Day, we like, what part of them is really this person?
It's something in Denzel that's like that. Yeah. Don't run up on Denzel. Yeah,
because he might pop you. You know what I'm saying? But my favorites are like Meryl Streep and Leonardo DiCaprio. Because those are people that are like, they're never the same. Yeah. Leonardo has been acting all his life, literally since he was like 10. Yeah. He has never been the same in any movie he's ever done.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. Meryl Streep is a beast. If I gotta look at top 3, would be Denzel, Meryl Streep, Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm studying that. Yeah. Anything that she's in, I'm watching.
I can't remember what movie this was that Leonardo did where he had to get like lobotomized or something. He Either he was in a mental institution. I'm drawing the blank, but
Shutter Island.
Shutter Island. Oh my God, he killed that movie.
Yeah, The Revenant. He left me with The Revenant and was like, he's gonna win his first Oscar.
Oh yeah.
I said I go to movies by myself.
Anytime you're willing to put your life on the line in the process of shooting the film, just give it to him.
And so even with that, right? So I was getting kind of even now, and I can be completely honest with that. I don't get booked a lot for movies. I don't know why. I just don't. Right?
You just did. Wait. Yeah.
I've got a few, but I
the movies I've named off 8 movies over the last 3 years.
Yeah, but some people have done 8 in a year.
Wow.
I just don't get booked like that. I don't know what it is, and I had to realize Meryl Streep don't do everything.
Yeah.
You know, and so I want to be like her.
Yeah.
You know, Angela Bassett doesn't do everything, but you remember what she did. So it's important that the ones that I have done, my character was memorable.
Oh, Street Legal, you was straight up memorable.
Thank
because
you.
I mean, listen. Because first off, I didn't know who did what. I love how Street Legal does it.
Me too.
But then let me ask you this: what your character did at the end for her sister, is that something that you would have done in real life? You would have done that in real life?
Absolutely.
Wow.
We're going to try to do something apart. Next season, we might Bring Me Back.
Yeah.
Which we're going to see about Bring Me Back next season.
So what we talking about, I can say it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what we talking about is that she got into it with this young lady. The young lady hit her over the head with a bottle, went to court, ended up getting dismissed. And then you and your sister saw her at the club. Y'all got into a fight. And then your sister ended up shooting her, right?
And I took the rap.
And she took the rap for thorough. She took the rap for it. So that's why I asked, like, is that something that you would do in real life?
Because even with the boyfriend, my whole dialogue with him was a lie.
Yeah.
We did the dialogue with me and the boyfriend in the jail scene because they know they're recording your conversations in jail.
It was a
so
lot.
we can all tie together.
Absolutely.
That's why I did what I did.
Yeah.
Dennis was brilliant with that. Dennis is a very smart guy.
There's a lot of little
intricate details.
Easter eggs and gems and stuff like that.
If you don't pay attention, you lose it. I like movies like that too. Like The Departed, one of my favorites. If you don't watch it, it's moving so fast.
Trust that your audience gonna figure it out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I like a lot of Chris Nolan movies too.
Yes, I like that. So Martin Scorsese, love his stuff too. Yep. So
come on, y'all y'all better go watch all her stuff when y'all get done watching this.
Yeah, I gotta start doing my movie reviews again.
Yeah, you should. You should. Yeah. Yeah. And then as far as hip hop, right? Let me ask you this: who is your top 5 dead or alive hip hop artists?
If you remember, I did this.
I know.
Okay. And so you asked me anything I took from my dad. My dad was a hip hop guy. Loved hip hop. Scarface. I love Face Mob.
See, that's how I know you're a real hip hop head. Yeah, go ahead.
Love Face Mob. Nas.
Because that's what inspired your name.
It is Ellematic. Nas is an acquired taste. But I will say nobody has done what he's done the last 4 years.
Oh no, with a Hit Boy,
he found
Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson.
His Quincy Jones. He did. He found
Justin Timberlake.
Timberland. Yep. He found his person, and I didn't get bored. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is my top 5 literally. So, Scarface, Nas, Biggie, Tupac, Jay-Z. Jay-Z being number 1 because of where he's at now. You know, we don't know what Tupac and Biggie could have done at 52. Yeah. They died at 25. But what they've done at that time was extraordinary, especially Tupac. Oh, yeah. Tupac was true Gemini. I study all things Tupac.
Like Trump.
Excuse me. Yeah. Tupac was we didn't know how to handle him. Tupac was he was on a different wavelength back then. He was so smart, and I think that he knew he was so smart and they couldn't handle it, so he had to do something else.
Did you see the documentary with his mother? So to me, it really explains the psychology behind
what was going on. They paralleled each other.
They paralleled each other, but if Tupac, this is just my opinion, actually I think it's a fact, but if Tupac would have grew up in a stable 2-parent household, you know, I think it would have been a little different.
I do too. I do too. That's why it's kind of important. Yeah. But I do want people to know too, just because it's 2 parents and if it's not a healthy household, it's not
co-parent. But that's that's what I always tell people, because if I say something about 2-parent households, they'd be like, "Well, what about the single?" And I'm like, "Listen, I'm not saying anything bad about that, but the goal should always be 2 parents, but not at the expense of the children."
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
I think you can co-parent well. You know, I'm the girlfriend of a guy that got kids, and I'm always the advocate of the mother. I'm a woman first, and I'm an advocate of where them kids at. You talk to your daughter, you talk to your son, what we doing? You know, that type of thing. Because I think it's nature and nurture. You need your parents for different things in your life, and His mother was so smart, but she got away with the ills of the world, and that reflected him in a negative light.
Absolutely.
With Tupac. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because he was angry.
He was very angry. He talked about it a lot because he knew how smart she was, and she failed him, and he knew that. Think about how you knowing somebody that's you got it.
Yeah.
You got it. But then we don't know how it was to be a Panther. I mean, then that woman lived a life.
That's so I have empathy for her.
Yeah.
Because she did live a life.
She lived a life.
She lived a life.
I did a vlog on Tupac.
Yeah, I know.
I think I did a two-part. They did a two-part on Tupac too.
Yeah, I watched all that. So she went through a lot. And then the thing is with Tupac, what you mentioned, like imagine being 20-something years old and you find out that your father is somebody else. Like his whole...
And look just like you.
Yeah, look just like him. His whole world is shattered at that point. And then you have to...
Because you lied to me, you know, so you betrayed me.
Yeah, my foundation is gone. I don't know who to trust. And the person who was the most important to me, my mother, you know, I can't really trust you like I thought I could. But then again, I have empathy for her as a parent. And I think if Tupac would have lived longer, because I didn't start empathizing with my parents until I became a parent.
I'm getting there too.
This shit is hard.
Yeah, I'm getting there too with my mother,
Yeah,
you know, of not being resentful of things. We had this conversation yesterday. That's so crazy. Like, no, I get it now. I hated you at 12.
Yeah.
I get it now. You know what I'm saying? So even for, I think a person can be smart. Tupac was smart, but he was still 25. So those poor decisions that he made by being with the wrong group of people ruined his life. Literally. It made him unalived.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, Suge Knight. You know, you look at a person, no matter how smart you are, you still look at a person that's big and bad and, you know, got all the clout and all of this. And so you want to be a part of that. Because he is a 25-year-old man. Sometimes you want to be a part of things. And it cost him his life.
Yeah.
I think it's important that's why it's important to have your daddy and have your mother, because you wouldn't have to be impressed by no man.
Absolutely.
If you had your daddy around.
And they both serve a specific role and specific purpose, and you know, and that determines whether or how well rounded you are as you become an adult and go off into the
and you
the
have
world.
people like Suge Knight that prey on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That prey on the fact that we know you didn't have that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put you under my wing and treat you like a son, or not like a son. I don't want you to feel like you a little dog.
Yeah.
But like a little bro. And
But then when I looked at Suge Knight's documentary, just like you said about Tupac, I'm like, oh damn, that's why he was like that. So it's always
things come
being
from
able to
home.
empathize.
It's always like
yep.
that home. That's why those conversations are important. When I just was watching, I was reading something that Jeezy and Jeannie Mai was divorcing, and I was like, you didn't have these conversations about home life during the dating phase. You just went straight to marriage.
Yeah.
Because I need to know, do you think your mama should live here?
Yeah.
Like that needs to be the conversation
Wow.
during the dating phase. You know, your childhood traumas and triggers. I'm very, very open with the fact that I need to feel heard. Because if I don't, I shut down. Because I felt as a child that I wasn't heard, because I grew up with my grandparents that you were seen and not heard. Your opinion as a kid doesn't matter. So if I feel like you're not listening to me, I get angry.
That's why I think you resonate with so many people, because you've been silenced before, or at least felt silenced. So being the voice of the voiceless is more so people who feel silenced or feel like they're not being heard, being able to look at you and say, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
I think that's dope, man.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. I want to be able to, and I want people to trust me with things and tell me things. But I will say this too, as a why reason why I did stop doing the Ellematic View, is because people would DM me their whole life story.
Oh man, that can be. I mean, don't get me wrong. You appreciate that people would choose you, but then again, I gotta carry this because I'm an empathetic person.
Yes, and it was draining me. That then they think I'm their therapist, and then you go out to places and the person say you shouldn't be here because don't put me in a pedestal I ain't asked to be on. Now hold on, wait a minute.
I didn't say I was Jesus Christ.
I ain't say that. I'm creating His image. I'm not Him.
Exactly,
so don't do that to me. And it was just I wasn't at the point in my life where I am now where I can be like, go to hell. You know, I'm just here to what did Tupac say? To spark the interest of the mind that changed the world, or something.
Oh yeah,
something he said like
absolutely,
that. Like that's what I'm here for. I don't want to. I might not be the game changer, but I could spark the mind of the game changer.
Man, so I'm shocked that you haven't came out with a rap album or something. I mean, first off, your poetry is phenomenal. One of my favorite poems that you've done is I think She Was Beauty or something like that.
Thank you.
And that's very personal, very emotional. I can tell that came straight from your life or how you felt, or you were speaking from that little girl inside of you.
Yeah.
I thought that was dope. Are you
Thank
gonna
you.
get back to doing spoken word?
So,
Are you gonna come out with an album or something? You got the voice.
Thank you. I got a book that I'm doing. It's called Not So Deaf Poet, and it's a poetic memoir. So it starts off with me losing my dad, and then how I started writing poetry, which was his death the poetry was an outlet, and then so I'm telling these short stories, and poems are going on with these short stories. But included with this book, I'm going to add in other short stories and my Twitter tweets and little tidbits of things I might say, or
put it all in one collection.
Exactly. And so there's going to be probably multiple volumes to that, because I'm going to continue to have things to say.
The book of Ellematic.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I gotta go. After all this investing is over, I gotta go. I'm like, if all the Jay-Z person that I am, because I'm going to everything Jay. I went out of town to concerts, all kind of stuff. My cousin like, when we going to the book?
You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go.
And they got the 96 Lexus, and that's my name out there. And I'm so pissed. Like, why ain't there right now? You know, that's not the story for another day.
It's coming though.
It's coming. You know, all things great are coming. But I've been working on this book since 2019. And because that's so personal, and because things are forever changing, I'm just constantly writing that I want it to be as great as possible.
Absolutely. Take your time. You're an artist, so you want to make sure when you put it out, because when you're creating it, it's almost like it's your baby, but then like a parent and a child, you giving it to the world, like it's going off to college. You get what I'm trying to say?
Being a creative, and I'm sure you know this because you're a creative person. You wouldn't be if you're doing, this is creative. So I get sidetracked, or I can put something down for years, and then I can have a thought, and I go back to it and start writing things. And
because it's based on inspiration. It's based on life experiences. I
see people that with poems. They're like, can you write me a poem for this? Like, no, I'm not inspired by that. I can't just, wordplay that. That's why I'm not a rapper, because I couldn't do that. I would be like Pusha T putting out an album every 5 years, because I'm just not that kind of person. Like, literally one time I was listening to Lauryn Hill when she like, Sweet Prince of the Ghetto. I'm driving home from Comcast, working at Comcast on 16 Van Dyke. I started writing the poem to that.
Wow.
In my phone as I'm driving. I'm on 8 Mile, turning there.
Because that's your opportunity. You don't want to lose it. And then you're experiencing that feeling right there in the moment.
And so I'm writing a poem called Sweet Prince of the Ghetto.
Absolutely.
And I'll share that with you when we're offline.
Yeah, that's just exclusive. That ain't for you other ones.
Yeah, when you're offline. But that's how my inspiration goes. My last poem I wrote was about my boyfriend. And it was very deep. And I'm gonna include that in the next script I'm writing. Man,
well, he's a lucky dude.
He is. He's blessed. Yeah, child. If I could say so myself. No.
So y'all stay out her DMs. Y'all stay out her DMs.
Oh my God.
She taking. She off the market.
I am. Yeah, I'm blessed as well.
Yeah. Shout out to your boyfriend. Now October 15th, Justice premieres at the Bel Air Luxury Cinema. Red carpet starts at 6:30.
Yep.
The movie starts at 8 p.m.
You are great.
Right?
The way you remember this stuff, oh my gosh.
Come on, I'm a fan.
That's you.
Easy. That's easy to remember. We're talking Ellematic right here.
Dang,
but you got this premiere coming up where you had on 4 different hats. You funded the movie, right? Or at least a large portion of it. You co-directed it alongside Dennis Reed.
Yes.
Right? I'm sure you learned a lot in the process of that. You wrote it. It came from you, and you starring in it. Yes. How was that whole process? Yeah.
Stressful. And then I'm going to say this. So the movie is a passion project. No, it is not about my dad. Because, that's what everybody gonna think.
Because there's some heavy stuff in there.
It's very heavy.
Yeah.
But it is inspired by the death of him. So it's about 2 sisters, Naomi and Nia, that are trying to get vengeance for the persons that killed their father. And it brought back trauma that I didn't know, again, that I thought I had unpacked and put. I just put it away. And the last scene, when you guys see me say on the trailer, "Tell the devil I said what up, though."
That was hard. That was hard.
Thank you. And I also co-wrote it with Brenda Hampton. Yeah. So I'll get to how that worked.
Brenda Hampton?
Yes.
Wow.
I'll get to how that worked too in a minute. But luckily I was off the next day because I cried the whole next day. It was so emotional because I felt like I was killing the person that killed my daddy.
Yeah.
And with whoever out there, whatever you did, you woke up a monster and you purposing your pain. Because I wouldn't have a story to tell had that not happened. So I could. So
it was kind of cathartic too. Yeah.
I could say, "Woe is me," or I could say, "I was able to do this because of that."
Because of that. Golly.
And we're going on his 20 years.
Yeah.
His 20 years is December 7th.
And that's why you said December what?
7th of this year is his 20 years.
Wow. So that's why so many people are going to be able to feel it, because if art comes from a real place,
yes,
then it's going to resonate with real people,
yes,
because we all have more in common than we think. Yeah.
And I want people to know that. I want people to know. And that's why I share so much, because you look at me, you look at the Instagram girl, and she's, you know, she's so confident. I struggle. I struggle with a lot. I struggle with a lot, like everybody does. So, and I think that is my therapy, is sharing that with people, so someone can say, damn, I didn't know I felt like this too. Or I know someone that feels this way. Or my daughter, I'll show her your page because of this. Or my son. Like, I literally do that so people can know you are not alone.
Wow.
So writing this story with Brenda Hampton, although I am a writer, I needed someone to help me fluff. You know what I'm saying? And it was certain things that I just didn't know how to do. First time. So Brenda is seasoned. Brenda is the GOAT. She's done a lot of writing. So I gave her this story. Excuse me. I said, this is what I want. A, B, C, D, whatever. You can give the EFG if I have to put this together. So we worked hand in hand on the phone for I'm going to say, it wasn't 13 weeks. That's too long. About 8 weeks, 8 to 9 weeks on the phone, back and forth. She sent it to me. I sent it back. You know, I'm editing. We're going back and forth. And even for her, she was like, this is a lot for me. The guy who edited was like, I had to take a break during the edit because I could feel it.
Wow.
I could feel it. Like, even when it's time for the tears.
When the editors say that, because the editor, I used to, you know, when I was doing films, I asked the editor, what you think? He's like, man, I don't know. I'm not looking for I'm just cutting it. You know what I'm saying? So when the editor actually feels it, that means something, man.
It does. I also did a documentary with it that I'm going to release on YouTube TV before it hits Tubi. The documentary is so people can see more behind the scenes, again, being transparent. And to be honest, people are nosy. They want to know your business. And I can say I took this tidbit from Mia Ray. Shout out to Mia Ray.
Shout out to Mia.
Mia is great at letting you know something but nothing. All at the same time.
She mastered that.
She's mastered.
You walk away from her videos like, I know everything. Wait, hold on. What? I still got questions.
Because
but she gives you just enough.
She gives you a lot of her. And it makes you feel like when you see her, you want to say, because she like being called auntie.
Yeah.
Auntie. Or,
yeah.
Come on, look at me.
Feel like
I
you know
love
her.
you.
Yep.
You saw Munchie grow up. You saw Tana grow up. You saw her start with the blog. That was one of the first blogs I ever remember.
It's like the Truman Show, where she's grown up before our eyes, literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of things from seeing Mia operate, you know, that I could just visually, of how she lets people in. And people want to be in because it makes them feel like they know you. And it also makes them more willing to support you.
Absolutely.
When they know something about you.
When they feel like they know you.
Yeah.
Right. And she's found that perfect balance of being able to give people just enough, but setting boundaries to the point to where it doesn't cause detriment to her.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's so important. I'm trying to master that part. So with that being said, I did the documentary because I wanted people to know about me and my dad, and about myself as a kid, being the thespian. And, you know, I was bubbly. I had all this personality. I've been playing in makeup since I was 5. My aunt's they're going to say all that stuff. 2, she was a depressed middle schooler. She sometimes just sat in her room. I want you guys to really feel that. And then I want people to know that you can go through depression and anxiety and bounce back. And now I'm living my dream. No, but it's never too late.
Wow.
It's never too late to say, I'm taking control of my life and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I sew hair. I sew sunglasses. I sew leggings. I sew furs. I'm going to fail again to get up. I'm going to keep doing something until I figure out what's for me.
The success is that you didn't stay down, that you kept getting up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and don't allow anything to keep you down.
Yep. And you learn from the failure and come back stronger.
You figure out, what did I do wrong here? Okay, I'm going to change something different there. And then also learning what's for you and your purpose. When I stopped doing things for money is when I found true purpose.
Wow.
If I could do it for free every day, that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's what you're supposed to be doing. Wow.
Everything isn't money driven. And I have to explain that because I come from a family of better get that bread.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
You know, like even as far as me standing in the bar as a bartender, I'm over it because it served its purpose.
So it really matters what the motivation is for doing something, what the impetus is, because if it's something rooted in like money or something superficial, then what happens when it doesn't work out? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to be happy with the highs and lows. So if a movie does really well, you're happy with that. If a movie doesn't do as well as you wanted to, you're still happy because you're living through your purpose.
Exactly. And I mean, right now, this is something that I've never done before.
Yeah. Oh, no, this one going to do really well, though. This about to do numbers. Yeah,
I'm telling y'all, it's going to be sold out.
Yeah, crazy.
It's sold out.
Crazy.
That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy. So who else is in it?
A Red.
A-Red. Shout out to A-Red.
Yep. She's my makeup artist. That's who called me when I was sitting over there.
Oh, okay.
That's my girl.
That's
my girl. I've been knowing her for many years. We started off promoting together back in the day.
Y'all look like sisters too, so it works. Yeah.
So I wanted us to be cousins, and she was like, "Girl, no, we gonna be sisters." And you know, A-Red is beautiful. I'm pretty. I'm not gonna take away that I'm a beautiful girl, I'm a pretty girl, say all that. But A-Red is like, that bitch bad. I'm like, I can stand next to you. I'm gonna go get me some Adipads. So. And she is a Sagittarius. She's full of personality. She has a lot to say all the time, you know. And she gonna say her opinion. That's my girl. So I love working with her. I love talking to her. I love her energy. Rose Spit. Okay. Love Rose Spit. Rose Spit is my favorite DJ. Rose Spit is my favorite fashionista. My brother. You know, we therapy each other sometimes. That's my dog. I have close relationships with a lot of people don't know. Like, these my dog. These my people. I have Lee Master Spratlin, the Mr. Tubi.
Yeah, that dude be in everything.
They love him.
He working. Ladies love it. They love him.
I be like, ooh, you like Lee? No, I'm joking.
Because you know him in real life. Right. He's like a brother to you.
And Lee is a great person too. Yeah. Love Lee. I also have, I gotta think, my stepdaughter's in it.
Oh,
I put
nice.
I put Chloe in it.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend is in it.
I gave him a little part. Family business.
Listen, we all gonna do it. Jacole. She's up and coming. She's amazing. She got a small role, but I just still had to throw I feel like I gotta throw my girl in there.
Got to.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you're in a position to do it.
You create the life you want your people to live sometimes. You know, if I can put you in a position,
why not?
Why not do it? Yeah. Sunny is gonna take it there for y'all.
Wow.
Sunny gonna have you crying. Sunny had me crying. You know, it wasn't fake tears. The same with me and Sunny. When y'all see it, those are me. That's the whole everybody behind. They were in tears.
Wow.
He's great. He's a great method actor. He's amazing at what he does. Sunny, in his role, is small but intricate.
Yeah.
He's very important, but it's not. But he made his
memorable,
mark.
Just
very
like your
memorable.
roles are, and even the stuff that you are a supporting actress in is memorable stuff.
Thank you.
Who's gonna be in the soundtrack? So we got D. Rick gonna be on there, right?
D. Rick is stuff. He's done 2 songs. He has one with him and Bodie James and him and Mac Nichols.
He been coming with heat.
You know, and I love about D. Rick is that he's so humble.
Yeah.
D. Rick is great at visuals. Yeah. He has great visuals because he actually
artist in every sense of the word. Yeah.
And he's lyrical.
Oh yeah, and I mean, no disrespect to Detroit artists because I like Detroit rap, but D. Rick, like, you could have placed him anywhere.
He's nostalgic
New
too,
York,
though.
wherever.
Because he knows real hip hop. He's a hip hopper. He's not just the fact that I know how to rhyme. I know how to put some shit together. I'm a fan of the art. I'm a student of the art. So I've studied this.
Yeah.
You know, y'all come from an era too where hip hop had transcended tremendously. So y'all, that age group is, I'm still young enough and old enough to know what's real and what's fake when it comes to hip hop. So, and you can tell he's a student of that, and now he's mastering being the teacher. I think that he needs to be known a lot more than what he is.
Yeah.
But he's the executive producer of my soundtrack.
Oh.
I had the idea because I'm such a hip hop head and because I'm such a movie person, and I just thought about, we don't have that anymore, where you have the movie and the soundtrack. Because back in the day, you would be like, it's a song you like, I want to watch the movie to go with the song.
Belly. Come on.
What? That's one of my favorite movies. Belly, Juice.
Oh yeah, Juice.
Those are my 2 favorites. Two of my favorites. I can watch and Paid in Full. I can watch them every day.
Absolutely.
And introducing Dorothy Dandridge. That's it.
It
don't match.
That just goes to show you her range.
Exactly. So D-Rick, I talked to D-Rick. I said, I want to do a soundtrack. He was like, word, that's dope. You know, like, damn, who you gonna pull? I'm like, I know the people. And they better look out for your girl. And I can tell you that these guys came through for me with no problem. I didn't pull any teeth. Damn. It was, I got Babyface Ray.
Oh, you interviewed him before too. Yeah,
I did.
Yep.
And then he started interviewing me. That's my dog. Like, Ray is such a humble being.
Yeah.
Ray is such a family person. He's never forgotten where he's come from.
Shout out to Babyface Ray.
Shout out to Ray. He's a beautiful person.
Yeah.
Payroll. Payroll's supposed to be in the movie.
Yeah.
But Payroll didn't want to die.
Oh.
And I was okay with that. You know, I respect that. That's fine. But he gave me 2 songs. One which is already released, but he allowed me to use it. And then he gave me a unreleased track. He also was very professional, came through with no problem. He signed everything else timely. He was grown. And I've known Payroll the longest of all the rappers.
Shout out to Payroll.
Shout out to Payroll.
You got Early Mac on there?
No, Early.
You interviewed him.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Early is my friendship soulmate. Early is my dog.
Yeah.
I feel like off topic, every time I talk to Early, it's like he knows what's happening in my life and I haven't talked to him. It's like, it's weird.
Yeah. He seems like a very spiritual person.
He is. He's very intuitive, very intriguing. I love Early. Early, I can't bug you so much. You know, I would have loved, he really still can. I'm going to call him. He really still can. Okay, I'm not dropping the chat. Taby.
Okay, Taby.
I got Taby. Shout out to Taby. I got Baby Money.
Dang.
Bodie James.
Oh, come on, man.
Mac Nichols. And a guy named Lil Mike.
Yeah.
Lil Mike offered the intro song.
Wow.
So what happened with that was somebody called me to do a music video. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? They was like, just be in a funeral scene, yada, yada. I was like, cool. The song I did the video for, I was like, this is hot.
Wow.
And this can go with my movie.
Wow.
And I didn't forget because them boys looked out for me when it came to that paper.
That's what's up.
And I was like, I'm not going to forget about y'all. I reached out to his manager who gave me his information and made that happen. Shout out to Karita Miller.
Yeah.
She helped me, music supervisor, helped me put all that together.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Man, so, I mean, this has been an incredible conversation. I think the lesson in all of this is that, you know, if you experience traumatic events, they don't necessarily leave you. They're a part of you. They don't have to define you. If you have insecurities, they don't necessarily go away, but you learn how to manage the trauma. You learn how to manage the insecurities, and you do that by taking on meaningful responsibility. You do it by living through your purpose like Elle has been doing, and you pray that that sort of counteracts the trauma. So it's going to be something that you are forever working on. And you just got to keep on getting up. Like Elle said, you can't stay down. You got to keep on finding reasons to get up, and you got to set good boundaries. You got to find that balance. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
This has been an absolutely wonderful conversation that I'm inspired by. I feel like I'm about to run through a wall after this. Like I can do anything.
Yes, that's the point. I always say this before I go.
Yeah.
Don't let your journey be your story. Don't let your journey be your story.
I'm about to put that on a shirt. I'm gonna give you half the proceeds.
That's it. Your journey is not the end of your story. It's just a part of the process.
Man, brilliant. Where can people look into this camera? Where can they find you?
Elle Breaunna is my Instagram. ELLE.BREAUNNA. That is Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Wow.
I'm coming back with the Ellematic View. I'm gonna bring you on next time.
Oh, straight up. Oh, you gonna interview little old me? I appreciate it.
Man, you're doing great things. I appreciate you. You know, bringing me into your home, into your platform, into
because I don't do that with everybody.
No, into the space because your space
it's my home.
It is. So it's a different kind of space, and you are doing great things. You're very informative.
Thank you.
You're touching on many different topics, and I blessings to you.
This is what happens when you get two hosts on here. We go back and forth. We killing it.
And I have a problem accepting compliments. I can't do it.
Oh, you do? Oh man, yeah. Well, yeah. There's lots of compliments you want. So.
Thank you so much.
So anyway, y'all check out the movie.
Yes.
Justice. It premieres at the Bel Air Luxury Cinema at 8 p.m. And it's going to be out on Tubi sometime soon after that. Fourth quarter probably.
Yep. So right around. Hopefully, I can get it on my dad's death date in December. That's what I'm hoping for.
That'll be crazy.
Yeah, that'll be like, that was it. That was this for you, dog. Like, you know, I'm hoping to do that. But if not, somewhere before December.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Conversations with TinBridge.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace out.